Okay, I'll cover that, Jack. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that when I get to the meat of my presentation now. So I just scooted the chart down. So let me just talk about consistency real quick, and then it'll take me 1 minute. All right. So for myself, right, I knew absolutely nothing about trading. Absolutely zero knowledge at all. Okay? Didn't know what I didn't even know that you could really trade Forex. The way that I stumbled onto currency trading was I was sitting in my home at about 3 in the morning, and I saw some commercial on the television advertising some red arrow, green arrow thing, and meet at the Marriott Hotel, and we'll tell you about how you can get filthy rich. Well, at the time, I was getting discharged from the army, so I was basically sitting around doing nothing. So I thought, oh, well, I'll go along. Well, they obviously didn't sell me on the $4,000 software, but they did sell me on Forex. And so, one does the normal thing, right? You go looking for info, don't you? Like large quantities of information. All right, where do you typically find that sort of thing? I don't know, baby pips. Right, the various. I don't want to say something contradictory to FXStreet, but baby pips, FXStreet, and Forex Factory and all these other different things. Forex Factory and various brokers, websites, etc. Right? And there's a relative sort of cornucopia there of, that's tremendously terrible writing, but you know what I'm saying. So there's an absolute cornucopia of information out there, isn't there? I mean, you name it. Yes, sound is fine. Right, so what one does though is from this you get information overload, don't you? Right? I mean, just massive amounts of information. All right, and it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to reconcile this, isn't it? You want me to turn it up a little bit? Okay, is that better? I'm always wary of the Darth Vader. Okay, so what is the problem with this approach? Okay, the problem with this approach is that one gets too much information. All right, which is a kind of a silly thing to say, actually. All right, but what one does is, particularly from Forex Factory, right? Because you've got a lot of folks on there that are doing their best to contribute, but you've got a lot of people here that know nothing, but will sell you on knowing everything. And then you've got a bunch of guys that know a ton of stuff that are really not really particularly willing to share it. All right? And then you've got a lot of falsities out there too, where people are telling you different things. And, if you use this crossover method and this thing crosses this and that crosses there and this goes underneath that, then you're going to make money. And if this does this and this monkey, this primate does this gymnastic trick, then you need to long, and when the moon lines up with Mars, then you need to short. All right? Well, what happens is that one wants to try everything. Okay? So you wind up with a methodology here of a million different things. Okay? Right? I mean, a million different things, right? Methodology here for just, so you're trying crossover methods, you're trying oscillator stuff, you're looking at price action things, you might be going for fibs, you might be going for market harmonics, you might be going for Elliott wave, you might have, just general spot. You're trying everything. Okay? However, generally what makes sense to you, don't you? I mean, just take FXStreet's contributors, for instance, all right? There's some contributors that have a big following, and then there's some that don't. But then the some that don't also have some staunch followers, all right? And what it boils down to is there's many ways to skin the proverbial cat. And ultimately, it's what you can internalize and what makes sense to you. So if somebody rings some sense in a year, then it's time to become an expert on it, all right? But the problem is that in the methodology phase, people try 25,000 different things. I know I did. I tried 1 million different things. Okay, and after about 3 months of trying everything, okay, I had mixed success. However, because I was trying so many different things, I really didn't know what was working for me and what was working against me. And as a result, it was just mass confusion. I never had a baseline to work from. You with me? And I think that this is the root of inconsistency with regards to trading approach. All right? So for me, as a new trader, I'm speaking specifically to the person that's getting their feet wet in Forex. Okay? I think that you need to have some kind of consistency in your initial approach to trading. All right? So for example, let's say you're trying, I don't know, Elliott wave. All right? And let's say you're trying to figure it out on a 5-minute chart. Now, I'm not an Elliott wave guy. I know very little about it. But let's say you go about on a 5-minute chart and you figure out that, you take, say, 20 trades. And you figure out that you had 12 losers, 6 winners, and no break-evens. All right? Now you make a small change to this. All right? Small change, and you do another 20 trades. So now let's say that you expand this to a 15-minute chart, and you add, I don't know, some support and resistance stuff, and you take another 20 trades. And now you see, okay, look, I have 10 losers, 6 winners, and 4 break-evens. So this would be 2 break-evens here if my math was right, and 4 break-evens. So you've actually improved your result a little bit. Hey, Colin. All right, and then you make another small change to this, and you do another 20 trades. All right, and you can do these on the Forex Tester, you can do these on your demo account, whatever. But what I'm saying is that you start out to the basis, and you start making small incremental changes to things. And this process might take 6 months. So be it. Until you have a mechanical strategy that is right around break even, if not a tiny little bit positive. All right? Then you can start doing things like tweaking your money management. All right? Learning how to cut your losses quicker. Using a little bit of discretion as your confidence level grows and your experience level grows. All right? But trying and doing too many different things is going to compromise your trading development. I'm a firm believer in it. It's very important that you find something that you understand. And that might be something you've come up with, something somebody else has come up with. I don't care. All right? I tell people at bootcamp all the time, I think FxBootcamp's a method. I don't think it's the best method. I don't think it's the worst method. It's a method. All right? It's going to get you to where you need to go, but you need to develop some consistency with it. It's like anything in life. There's many different ways to hit the golf ball, many different golf swings, but a lot of them do the same thing at the end of the day, but they have to be yours, all right? So as far as consistency, trying too many different things is going to make you consistently inconsistent. Does that make sense? So, I hope that kind of resonates, and I'm sure a lot of people have gone through many of the same things where you've tried 1 million different things and you're not really certain. And the problem with this is that when you're in a trade that's working adversarially against you, right, but hasn't really broken the trade plan, so to speak, one tends to jump ship because you have no confidence, right? If you don't know what's working for you and what's working against you, how do you have any confidence sticking to a trade plan? Sure, I'll go along with that. But you need to be able to identify what those different conditions are. All I'm trying to say is that I find that even if you're wrong, it's important to have a definitive strategy for when you're wrong or you're right. Not just by the seat of your pants. That's all I'm trying to get at.